the beginning when we first went out and saw that first draft line with our tap handle on it, I mean, that was amazing. And it's still like, it kind of blows our minds when we go out and we just see our, the DC Brau truck drive by, or, just our product in stores all over town. Like, it's really amazing.
What's going on, everybody? I'm so happy to have this walk with me today happening at DC Brau. If you've been in DC area, you probably know them very, very well, but it's time to get a closer look at the people behind DC Brau. Walk with me. Happy Valentine's Day. We are drunk in love in DC Brau, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of you probably have heard of DC Brau, especially if you're from the DC area, but you might not know all the beautiful faces that are behind it and make everything happen. Therefore, without any further ado, I would like to introduce to you the lovely Mari and Jeff and Brandon, but I will let them introduce themselves. So why don't we go ahead and just one by one, kind of just introduce yourself as far as your role in DC Brau.
I'm Mari Rodella, and I'm the Chief Community and Culture Officer here at DC Brau.
Love the title.
Yeah, it's a title that basically covers all the things I do here. I oversee kind of our compliance and HR, which is a lot of like federal regulation stuff, local regulation. But I also get to do a lot of community engagement, and right now I'm currently helping to build out our events program here at DC Brau, which we're working with you guys on.
It's a great expansion to this wonderful space, and we'll definitely get into that. Go ahead, my friend.
Jeff Hancock, brewmaster and co-founder here at DC Brau, and I'm basically responsible for writing beer recipes and making sure that the beer constantly flows to the thirsty public.
What a title, what a position.
I'm Brandon Skall, I'm the CEO and co-founder as well. I basically oversee the sales and marketing departments, help with developing the marketing around beers, and also following through with sales on the street, and making sure that everybody's able to get our beer all around town and everywhere we're distributed.
That's awesome. So in honor of Valentine's Day, tell us about the love story that began between the two co-founders, when it began, how it began.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't even know if this is still a little known fact, but we originally met through DJing. So Jeff and I were both DJs of club music, in particular house and drum and bass. And so that was sort of the roots of how we met. We met at a party. And
where there was probably beer involved?
There was beer involved,
okay,
yeah. And we really hit it off. I had been sort of like writing a bunch of business plans. I wrote a bunch of business plans for restaurants that never really seemed to ignite. And then I'd sort of gotten into thinking that a brewery, instead of having one restaurant serving the entire town or trying to serve the entire town, a brewery that served all the restaurants in town would really sort of be the magic spark. But I didn't really know any brewers. And it turned out I did know one in Jeff, and one of our friends reintroduced us, and Jeff had been brewing at Flying Dog at the time. And so the two of us decided we were gonna get together and take this project on.
That's amazing. And what year was that approximately?
It's like 2008, 2009. We technically incorporated the business in 2009 so that we could start raising funds. And then we started the build out in this space in 2010.
So from the very beginning, it was more like you're going to run the business side of things, I guess, and then you're the one who's got the taste buds to be able to create this magical beer, huh?
Yep.
So how did you even get into this whole love and passion for becoming a brewmaster?
So for me, I had always worked with my hands at a young age and was doing home improvements kind of before I stumbled into beer. I was enjoying a Sierra Nevada one day and kind of contemplating kind of a next move with Mari. And decided to go to the local pub where I first interned at, which is Franklin's Brewery and General Store, about 10 minutes up the road here in Hyattsville. And the only qualification was showing up for work at 5 a.m. So they took me in and I worked there for about a year and a half. And then up into DC Brau, I kind of worked locally, worked in Michigan at a couple brew pubs, and then came back to the area, and like Brandon mentioned, worked at Flying Dog before linking up with him. And Mari and I were actually thinking of leaving the area because there weren't a whole lot of brewing opportunities, and the thought of opening up my own spot with people had never crossed my mind because I just didn't think I was going to find someone with a complementary skill set that knew how to kind of sell beer. Since I was the brewer, I like to be behind the scenes doing all the sciencey tinkering kind of stuff. So yeah, when we met Brandon, it was a leap of faith, but it was great. Yeah.
What a great day to be doing this on Valentine's Day too.
Sure.
So there's also a love affair between the two of you, which has been going on for a long time. So that's got to be great to work together as well.
It's a lot of fun. We have a good time with it, and people are always asking like, how does that work? And it actually just works.
And you've been involved to the same degree from the very beginning as well?
Yeah, from the very beginning I've been involved, but I wasn't actually full-time here. I actually, for a while, just really loved and supported the business, but wasn't like involved in the day-to-day. Did help out significantly, but then at one point we just started to pick up momentum, and a lot of things were happening, and there was need for a third skill set in the space, and I jumped in to help, and thinking I would just be here for a little bit, and this is literally 7 years later, and I've been full-time here ever since.
So you guys basically started in 2009. Considering where DC Brau is right now, are you happy with the progress we've made in the last 10 years? Is it beyond expectations? Like, where does that go from a business standpoint?
I mean, we actually sort of blew our initial projections out of the water in the first couple of years. We grew by about 500% in between years 1 and 2, and that was a big change. That was a big change for us as far as what we needed to do in the brewery to accomplish that goal, and also sales-wise, what we were going to do to sort of move that product through. But we really weren't expecting all of that growth.
So what would you attribute that to? That unexpected?
Yeah, I would say at the time, business models for breweries that were opening up had much more conservative growth. I would say one key to our success was kind of DC didn't have its own local beer made within the city limits. You had breweries in Delaware and Maryland, kind of claiming, oh, we're DC based, we're DMV based. I think that was a large part of it, and we led with a really popular style of beer, like a pale ale. Pale ale and IPA kind of still rule the roost these days. And clearly I think the people who live in town were thirsty for it, and that was proven by the love that was shown to us. So.
Yeah, I think that also in those initial first few years, all of us were very active in the DC brewing scene. We were definitely out on the town. They were very fun years, but they were very hard years. We were often working here from 6 o'clock in the morning, until nighttime, and then out at accounts, working events, having fun, drinking, meeting people, and really being a part of this scene that was being created back then. Now there's several breweries from DC, but back then there was a few brew pubs and us, and really we got the honor of watching this scene evolve and being a part of it from the beginning, and I think that's one of the reasons the brewery was so successful also.
Would you say that it seems like you guys have a huge affinity for DC? Is that why the name of the beer you guys chose to have DC integrated into it? You wanted to have a stamp of DC, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, the more you live in town or live in this area, you come to DC. I mean, it has its government side, and then it has the people who actually live here, for many years and stick around. I think, we wanted to convey that to our consumer base, that we have hometown pride and we're not going anywhere.
Is this where you've been since day one?
No.
Where did you begin?
So our offices were 2 desks in the tasting room for the first pretty much 4 years. We didn't move into the space until 2015.
So we had booths back then, so everybody would just cram in that space and work from that space. And then at 4 o'clock when we opened the tasting room, we would have to go home and work because people would come in. Yeah. So it was pretty
That's so weird. You have to leave work when customers are coming.
Yeah.
And then on Monday when we would come in, our desks would just be covered in beer.
Yeah, it would be just beer everywhere. So
These are the challenges of small business owners in the beginning, and so now we have this beautiful space, so let's go take a tour. Walk with me, guys, come on. All right, so what are we looking at here? The packaging, I guess, here, but feel free to
over
give
here,
us
you see some of the backs of our big packaging tanks, but right here is our canning line. So every beer we produce and hard seltzer we produce in-house gets kegged and canned on this line.
And then usually Monday through Friday, like what are the production times? Is it all day, every day?
We are pretty much fully in operation, almost 6 days a week with production every week. And then we'll have like one day where we're closed for tours and just entertaining people
And
in the
events,
brewery.
of course.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on that in a second. And so right now, how many different types of beers do you produce here? Is it the seltzer and like, tell me about it.
Yeah, so right now we do 4 flavors of hard seltzer, and we, at any given time, as far as beers go, have between 4 to 7 readily available, sometimes more, depending on if we have a seasonal brew that's available.
Okay.
But you can always find our Pale Ale, IPA, Pilsner, and Hazy IPA available in stores, and our 4 flavors of seltzer.
Love it. Can't wait to taste it. Go ahead.
We've got 4 flagship brands that are pretty much always in production, no matter what. And as Jeff mentioned, there's plenty of fun one-offs that come along.
Yeah.
So at any given time, the variable number is whatever it is. So this space over here was the latest expansion. We moved into this in 2017 and finished the build in October of that year. But it was the last space that we took over in this whole complex.
It's also pretty massive. It added quite a bit of a footprint.
Yep. Yeah, we try to get some local artists in here whenever we can. That's beautiful Kelly Towell's mural over there.
Yeah, so if you look over here, this is our current brew house. It's where we brew all of our flagships and most of the beers. It was really needed. One of the problems that we were falling into was in order to brew enough beer to supply the city on that system alone, it took up pretty much all of our brewing capacity and time. So now that we've got this system, we're able to do much more creative things. We're able to really brew for our barrel age program as well as limited one-offs, sometimes that just get featured at the brewery alone.
Well, what I love about it is that as an outsider, you know, you guys are in the brewery, this is your products, these are your babies. As an outsider, I don't think enough people see just how much love and passion goes into the creation of a line, you know, like, and so, you know, you mentioned there's a whole line of people coming, like, that's happy. It's like when we do events and there's 1,000 people dancing and they're having a great time, like, it brings me so much joy. And like, when I watch a highlight video and just show you guys like Utopia, it brings me happiness because I know that it helped some people in some way. Like, it kind of made it memorable. They enjoyed a nice hangout with their father or their son or their children. It's beautiful what you guys are doing, so it's great.
It's amazing, and you know, in the beginning when we first went out and saw that first draft line with our tap handle on it, I mean, that was amazing, and it's still like, it kind of blows our minds when we go out and we just see our, you know, the DC Brau truck drive by, or, you know, just our product in stores all over town. Like, it's really amazing.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I'm happy for you guys that you get to enjoy the happiness of growth and making an impact on the community. So speaking of events, let's transition to how you use this as an event space.
Yeah, let's do that. So here we are in the DC Brau Lodge, our newest event space. We're doing a lot more of event activation in the brewery because we have so much incredible space, and we really feel like it's a great opportunity to really make that connection with our, you know, our community and people who are just interested in the beer, but also who need space. So, you know, it's really... And
you've done a wide range of events already, from weddings and a wrestling match and some other birthday celebrations, right?
Just a lot of things, and we're about to host someone's 60th birthday party and a tea dance.
And Hop Fest.
Hop Festival, yeah. We even host a holiday market every year in this space, and it's actually in the larger space. The lodge is kind of like a nook within another space, but we're really proud of this space. It's a lot of fun. It's really cozy.
That's great. Yeah. At this point, I think we can go and taste this wonderful beer and seltzers, right?
Yeah.
So off to the tasting room?
Sounds good. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so this is a beer that we introduced last year that's actually becoming one of our top selling beers. It's called Joint Resolution, and it is a hazy IPA. This is a style that really just took the whole nation by storm over the past couple of years. It's also known as a New England IPA, but breweries outside of New England often refer to it as a hazy IPA. So we're really proud of ours, and it's becoming one of our top-selling beers.
Let me do everyone a favor and enjoy this bad boy. Cheers to y'all. Cheers to DC Brau.
What do you think?
Oh man, this reminds me of my favorite beer, which is Hefeweizen.
Oh yeah.
That's my personal always, and I'm not a connoisseur of beer by any stretch of the imagination, but this tastes amazing.
And visually, that also looks a lot like a Hefeweizen, but one of the key characteristics of a New England IPA is it has a lot of hop character, but not a lot of bitterness. All the hops are put in towards the end of the production process, so you minimize the bitterness, but you maximize all the rest of the hop character.
New England
style IPA.
I love it. This is genuinely, because I don't like the bitter stuff, so this is good.
Yeah, that's made specifically so it's not bitter. It's more juicy.
So good.
Yeah.
Here's something special for you. This is a brand new beer. We haven't even shipped this out into the market yet, but you will start to see it probably by the time this airs.
Okay.
This is our Session IPA. It's called In Session, and I think Jeff's the perfect person to talk about it.
The Session IPA, yeah, so as we move towards, more kind of a health conscious consumer, people kind of age from their 20s, 30s, 40s. So we're offering the best of both worlds.
We say the same.
We do. We're timeless as far as our age goes. But yeah, so it's a 4.5% IPA using a very traditional hop for IPAs called Centennial. And drinks light, something you can have a lot of and, not worry about stumbling home. It's not too much on the bitter side. A little.
Also, actually, this one just took me back to Germany for some reason. It was a scent or the taste, but it was very good.
Oh, I can't wait for you to try the Pilsner.
I don't have the right words to explain how I enjoy them, but take my word for it that they taste great.
Well, as long as we're talking about Germany, why don't you take a sip of the Pilsner and tell us what you think.
You want to get that In Session.
Oh, it's very light.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? We're all very proud of that.
So this beer actually, it seems like people are really enjoying drinking Pils now. So it finished the year up about 30%, and it started this year off also continuing that trend. So we're really excited to see a beer that we all love get a lot of traction in sales. So finally, the latest trend
Hold on
sweeping the
one second.
nation.
Or we can keep that there. It's all good.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, if you want to drink all four.
So this is our Passion Fruit Orange Guava, or POG. Go ahead and take a sip.
Passion fruit, orange. We got very tropical here now.
And what's fun is that's still doing well in the winter.
This is alcoholic?
Yeah. You can't even taste the alcohol.
This is dangerous. This is
really
how
good.
alcoholic becomes alcoholic. I mean, that it's fruity, it's delicious. It almost feels healthy actually to drink.
Yeah. Yeah, with this product line, we're matching kind of the big dogs out there. 100 calories per can, 5%, under 1 gram of carbs. So for the health conscious consumer, they can, if they want to imbibe, they want to have between.
How big is the seltzer market right now?
It's huge. So it increased by about 5x last year, grew by about 500%. And this year, it started off the year as really one of the only beverage categories showing significant growth.
Are you talking about at DC Brau or in general,
Nationwide.
Across the board? Okay. And do you foresee it continuing to grow?
We do. So I think that it's the emergence of a new category and not just a fly-by-night trend, and we all agree with that. So we are getting behind it. We sort of really put our money where our mouth was, and we were the first locally to come out and produce one, and we're also the first locally to have one that's packaged and that you can get pretty much at any corner store or any chain retailer in town.
I love that. So what is next for DC Brau? Like, how do you guys see DC Brau evolving in this new decade? What do you guys have in the works? What are you guys excited about?
I'd say from a beer standpoint, we're going to continue to do like fun, tried and true styles. We're going to do a lot of experimentation with, newer styles, doing more sour beers, kind of twisting the lid off that, and also continuing to push the seltzer line and do some fun off, seasonal seltzer offerings as well.
You just love being in the lab and just creating, huh?
I really do. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I think as long as you have each of you guys doing exactly what it is that you're loving, there's no limit to what DC Brau can do, because you can definitely see what he's passionate about, what he's passionate about, and what you're great at. I mean, the combination of a powerhouse sales and marketing, the genius in the lab that's making the product, and then the person that does the outreach and the strategic partnership. I mean, that's wonderful. I mean, it seems like one big happy family over here. And you can sense it. You can sense the great energy. So let's kind of get to why we have the pleasure of working together and collaborating. That is the Unite and Conquer seminar. And on behalf of our entire team, we really appreciate DC Brau, one of the big boys in town, to reaching down and lending a hand to us small ones that need the support of a bigger brand to get the word out for something that we believe is really important in this community, and that is helping small business owners. Why did you decide to give us this honor and being a part of this? And
Sure. Well, we have always, as part of our ethos, been like I mentioned earlier, our values are about abundance and commitment, and we're very committed to our community. And ever since the beginning, we've actually partnered a lot with other small businesses and entrepreneurs in the DC metro area. And so for us, this kind of just is a continuation of partnership with other businesses. We love working with Exclusively Entertainment. We're really excited to be partnering with you guys, and we really love the opportunity to be able to showcase our new event space at the Unite and Conquer conference in your seminar. It's really exciting to have access to that very specific group of people who are doing such cool things in the city.
yeah, I mean, if you're in the events industry or you're thinking about doing any type of event, I think that you should come check out DC Brau, not just for the delicious beverages you're going to get here and the great environment of awesome people doing great work, but also a unique event space that hopefully you can do any kind of celebration, whether it's for your business or personal pleasure. He enjoyed his 40th birthday over here, and a lot of stories that these walls know that we will never know about, but anyways, we really appreciate you guys giving us a small window to what DC Brau is all about. As a bunch of Washingtonians around here, we're very appreciative of everything you guys do, and we're very proud of you guys. And we're going to continue supporting you guys as much as we can, and appreciate your support as well. So
Absolutely.
thank you for your time, DC Brau.
Of course, our
thank
pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Pleasure.
Cheers, sir.
And cheers. Yes, definitely.
Drink up.
Just one beer.
Yeah, I made short work of the other one.
Awesome.
Figured that would be a good little caveat on camera.